Alright, we are back. Taking in one of the loads from last night, and then I'm gonna go start shelling, because I'm guessing there's probably about 3 more loads out there. I think I'm over half done. If there's 4 loads, that'd be great, but and then hopefully when Dad gets done doing what he's got to do today, he can bring my truck down and get it empty. But I want to get shelling, because if I can get 2 loads in, actually now that everything's going good, as long as we don't have any mess ups, I might be able to get 3 loads out of it today. But apparently they decided to open up earlier than noon, because it's 11:30 and they're already probing trucks. So like I say, hopefully everything goes fairly smooth. And if I can get 2 loads hauled in, Dad can get my truck empty, and then we have 2 empty trucks to make 4 loads for sure today, then that field will be done, because I know there's not more than 4 loads left. It just might end up with 1 or 2 loaded trucks over the weekend, but like I say, we'll just have to see how things play out. So went up this morning and helped the boss for a few hours, because obviously I couldn't do anything this morning, and he was trying to get some fall burn down sprayed. So I went up and helped him get things around and so he could get rolling on spraying, and came back and I got the windows cleaned up on the combine, greased the track frames, blew the radiator out, checked the oil, and so that should be good to go once we get there, other than I got to put a little bit of engine oil in it, because it was about a quart low, and I forgot to take a jug of oil with me. But other than that, combine should be ready to go, and once we get there we should just be able to have at it, and hopefully, like I say, as long as we don't have any screw ups, today should go fairly smooth. Fingers crossed. Okay, got the engine oil topped off, so we'll do the infamous 354 cold start. Jeopardy music playing. It's honestly not that cold right now, but it's windy and the wind chills making it a little chilly. Not too bad. another truckload. We shouldn't have any issue finishing this. I had worked over further last night than I thought I did, so I'm betting there's only about another truckload over there. And you get over on that side hill next to the woods, and the deer had been into it, and the population was kind of meh to begin with. I'm guessing because it was hurting for water at the beginning. But I got one more pass in the full rows, and then I got to work off the end, or work off the rows around that spring where those trees are, and then all I got is the short rows. So I'm still pretty good jagging the combine. I mean, it's bad to say this, hopefully it all fits on one more truckload and I don't have a little partial to take in, but we shall see. Not that more corn is a bad thing, but having to take in a little dink load always kind of sucks. Well, that was painful. About 30 minutes to refill the truck, about an hour and 30 minutes to get it empty again. But I got time. I'm hoping I can finish this field up and get that. Hopefully it's one load. Not that I wouldn't mind the extra corn, but I got enough time if I can make a load and finish. If the rest of this field is a load, I got enough time to make it back down there. But that being said, with how much I got left in here, I think I got like a load and a half, or a load and a dump maybe. So we'll find out. Dad was toward the tail end of the line with my truck as I was getting down there, or as I was leaving, I mean. So that truck will be empty. If I can make the turn, this truck will be empty, and I might have to dump a little bit in mine. We'll see. Field's done, truck's full. I'm gonna go get it empty because I got time, and then we should have all the numbers we need to tell you what this field ran. Well, it's gonna be a minute sitting down here. We are caught all the way up to the dryer. They're literally dumping it in. It's going right in the top of the dryer. Their wet bin space is full, so they're basically dumping as fast as the dryer is spitting it out, and they're only drying about 3,000 bushels an hour because the corn's still so wet, which surprises me because my stuff's down under 20. But like my boss, the stuff he was shelling today was still up like 22. I figured stuff would be a lot drier, but I guess if anybody put fungicide on, that would have held it. That probably would have held that moisture up some. But anyhow, they got some guys that want to leave because they said, well, 3,000 bushel, they're dumping about 3 trucks an hour right now. They're still bringing in over 100,000 bushel of corn today, which that right there tells you how how much corn still left everywhere. But anyway, I backed up out of the way so that they could get trucks out. But they gave me the option I could stay and stick it out, which I kind of want both trucks empty just in case the weather allows me to go down and start opening the muck up on Sunday. So I guess we'll just sit here for a minute and see what happens. So I went in and gave Ryan some shit just to aggravate him a little more. Ryan's the superintendent down here. And talked to him a little bit and got the skinny on what's going on. And apparently they're having a really hard time getting corn to dry. He said it's been coming low mid-20s, like I said. But he said a lot of the stuff that's been coming in here, A, is really dirty and beat up, so it's got a lot of fines in it. And B, he said it has this really, and I know what he's talking about because my boss has been having some corn like this, which that's that Volvo up there on the pit right now. That's actually my boss's son. He was shelling corn up north today. But there's a lot of corn been coming in here that's got like a really pale yellow, almost white appearance to it. And like I say, I've been seeing, he said they've been seeing a lot of corn like that, and I know what he's talking about because my boss has had a bunch of corn like that. And I don't know exactly what caused it. I would think, because everything started drying down well before a frost, so I wouldn't think that it would have anything to do with not reaching black layer. And it's not vomitoxin or anything, because they said it's been they've been testing for vom and it's been under 3%, which ain't nothing. Or 3%, I think is what she told me. So I don't know, it's just a really weird year. And he said that a lot of the corn has been coming up like that, also has been having atrocious test weight, which same thing, that's what I've been seeing. Luckily I only had one field of corn that turned out about like that, and that was that stuff I picked at my grandma's that had all the deer damage in it, that had a bunch of black nasty crap in it. That field turned out kind of like that, but so far that's the only corn I've had like that. My test weight's been coming up pretty good now that the corn's been drying down, which that's one thing I really like about this Wyckoff corn. When this stuff and it's been this way ever since I started planting it, what's it been, 3 years ago now? 4 years ago now? I don't know, I've been with them for a while. When this Wyckoff stuff, and I'm not saying they're the only ones that are like this, but I have yet to find a hybrid from them that hasn't been like this. When it decides we're done, the moisture on it starts dropping like a rock. Like this field that we just got done running, at the beginning of October, it was still pushing 30 when I was testing it. Like the kernels were still, they weren't doughy, but they weren't hard yet either. And now it's down to 18.5, 19 in there, which for all the rain we've had and the temperatures, that's a pretty good dry down for the fall we've had and for as late as everything. So I don't know, but anyway, that's part of the reason. And like I say, they've still been bringing in 100,000 wet bushel a day, and they've only been drying 3,000 an hour. So, but he said they got a train coming in Monday that they're going to start loading out, and that should also clear up a bunch of wet bushel space, because they're going to blend some off. And they did get their other scale fixed, so apparently somebody pulled off a winner there. Actually, they had just got it fixed and opened it up on my last go around. So this is the second load. Yes, this is the second load I shelled off the field today, so yeah. So anyhow, just sitting waiting for my turn to go. I can see the pit. It's right there. I think I got, looks like 2 semis in front of me, and then we'll be good. This is where I wish I had my own bins and a dryer set up, but it'll all come with time. Well, honestly, I'm getting low on fuel, so I gotta shut the truck off. At this point, bins and a dryer are more of a want than a need. They'd make life easier, but you don't really need them to run an operation. They make life a lot easier. But I got other things that need to get squared away before I worry about them bins. Plus, I really need to get all the damn pine trees taken down where I want to put the bins up, which I had really hoped. I did all the research and got the insurance certification and everything I needed, because I was going to rent a 316 Cat, because that was the biggest excavator I could get that still had a backfill blade for pushing stump holes shut. And I wanted to have them drop it off in between Christmas and New Year's so that I had that time off of work. And I was going to rent it for, I think, if I remember right, it was $3,000 for 2 weeks, I think, was what it came out to. And I was going to take out that big section of pine trees and everything where I want to put the bins up, but we're still going to be shelling corn. So that's probably not going to happen. It might still happen yet this winter, but I was really hoping to do it in between Christmas and New Year's, because I was already going to have that time off of work anyhow, so I wouldn't have to screw the boss over on taking, because if you're going to spend that kind of money to rent an excavator, you better be there to have your ass planted in it 10 hours a day to utilize the $3,000 of expense that you're shelling out. Because luckily, if I remember right, there was no hour limit on it. It was just $3,000 for 2 weeks, if I remember right. It's been a minute since but anyhow, maybe it was 2 weeks or 150 hours or whatever. Anyway, I can't remember, but that would be 10 hours a day for 15 days, so that'd come out about right ish. So anyhow, almost there. Tick-tock. It's not 6 o'clock yet, so that's good. And there we go. I'm pretty sure it's 6 o'clock. So anyway, back to the house and we'll figure out what that field ran. Fun. Well, that was some really nice corn. It did better than I mean, I knew it was going to be good corn because ears out there were massive, but I figured the hills would have brought it down a lot more than what they actually did. 9.9 acres, 1,838.9 bushel, comes out to 185.74 bushel an acre dry. So I'll take that number. And test weight was good. Lowest was 55.7, highest was 57.3, and most of it was in the mid 50s, or the other 4 loads were in the mid 56s. So I'll take the test weight, I'll take the yield. Moisture was between, looks like 19.3, 18.8, 19, 19.3, so hovering around 19%, so I'll take that too. That's a hell of a lot better than where we were starting out looking like, which is another reason why I'm not too terrible. I mean, it sucks because now the rest of harvest is going to drag out because the elevators are going to constantly be full from here on out, but the fact that the track project drug out so long doesn't necessarily hurt my feelings, because the test weight and moisture and everything greatly improved since the last time we saw any corn. So, but anyhow, so far, initial thoughts on the tracks are, I'm very pleased with them. Obviously they're a little quirky and they do take some getting used to, but it's one of them deals where, since they were, I did confirm, actually, apparently the guy that I bought them from found the channel because he commented on the first video I put up when they showed up that they were indeed off of a Gleaner. That's what they were originally intended for, and then they bought them and put them on the white. So we're taking tracks that were intended for a completely different brand of combine and making them work, and I think we've already made some great improvements. And it's only going to go uphill from here. So, and it's one of them deals where you can't really make any improvements to them until you run them and figure out what you like and don't like about them, and then change what you don't like and improve what you do like. And so this year is the figure out everything that we don't like about it and go from there. So, but combine handles them fairly decent. I mean, I could use a little more horsepower, but other than that, combine handles them fine. It doesn't turn nearly as bad as I thought it would. It stays on top of the ground incredibly well, and I am very, very impressed with how well it handles. I mean, when we figured out how much higher it made the combine, it made me really nervous about taking it on side hills, because, you know, it ain't a very wide combine and it's kind of tall to begin with, so you get that thing on a side hill, especially with them 23 126s on it, and it likes to get a little rocky, and especially if you get the cab on the down, which I, just because it feels better, I try to always run side hills with the cab on the top. But especially if you're running a side hill with the cab down toward the bottom of the slope, it always felt kind of rocky. And especially if it was muddy, you know, wheeled combine, you end up crabbing alongside the hill because the ass end wants to slide down. But with them tracks on there, on them side hills, even as greasy as they were, she was rock solid. Didn't want to slide, didn't want to scoot. She just, you pointed a direction and that's the direction she went in. And I cannot explain, I cannot even, there are not words to describe after how this year started out with rutting up fields and whatnot. There's not even words to begin to describe how nice it is to head into a set of rows at the end of the field, and you point the combine in a straight line toward the other end, and you just, it's just, you come out on the other end and there's no squirrely, there's no cutting ruts, there's no wasting time wallering and slowing down because your axle deep in mud. It just, you just go across the field, and you don't got to worry about keeping the hopper half empty to stay light enough to get through the mud holes. You can socker full, and you just go. It's a good feeling. It just sucks now that harvest is going to come 2 trucks at a time because we're caught up to the elevator. But with that being said, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of guys with a lot of corn out yet. I know for a fact there were 2 guys that one guy we did some work for, and then he stiffed my boss on the first bill, so we didn't do any more work for him. And then one of them is one of my boss's friends that he grew up with. It's a big farm. They're somewhere, I think they're still like somewhere between 15 and 1,700 acres of corn left to go. And then the guy that stiffed my boss on the bill, my boss's brother-in-law actually works for the guy, and I guess at Thanksgiving he was telling Brian that as of Thanksgiving weekend, they still had over 3,000 acres of corn and beans to run yet between like 3 counties. So when I say that there's still a lot of corn out around this part of Michigan, I'm not exaggerating. There's still a lot of corn out. So but it is what it is. So anyhow, I think that's enough rambling for today. I think we talked about everything we needed to talk about. So with that being said, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.